in neutral. You can tell because of the way that it is. It's in reverse. So, hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and today we're jumping in a oh my gosh, it's already rubbing. A Honda Fit to talk a little bit about what it's like to drive a slow car fast, because that's really actually pretty important when you start wanting to drive and spending more time behind the wheel versus just at a car show. Now, don't get me wrong, we love car shows. We love all different types of car shows, different types of things. And, but we also love driving our vehicles too. So as we talk about wheels, tires, and suspension and getting them over at fitmentindustries.com. Why is this making so much noise?
It's the suspension.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it just clunks a little bit.
Okay, well, that's all right. We're gonna talk about how to drive a slow car fast, because when you get your wheels and tires, maybe you want your wheels and tires for an autocross. Maybe you want it for Road America, who just so happens to be our preferred partner of racetrack events and activities here in Wisconsin, because Road America is the premier automotive location for events and staffing. And if you're interested in renting this ginormous track, you're gonna need a lot of money. Anyway, so the first thing that you're gonna wanna remember as we, oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Hi Steve, this is Steve's car. Okay, so we're gonna get started. One of the first things to remember, at least when you're getting moving with a new car that just so happens to be slow, you go out for your first autocross event, and a lot of times what happens is people have a tendency to overwork the car. Don't do that. Every one of your friends is gonna tell you to go send it. You're not gonna wanna send it. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna practice really one thing at a time. And probably one of the most important things you can do the very first time you're driving your slow car fast, or at least trying to, is learning how the car behaves. Every single car behaves differently. There's not a single car out there in the world that drives the same way. They're all gonna slalom differently. They're all gonna go through an apex differently. They're all gonna roll. Their body roll is gonna be different in every single way. So don't go out there and just send it, even though everyone wants you to send it, myself included. If I saw you at a track, I'm probably gonna say send it. That's not what you wanna do. Focus on one thing at a time. And especially once you learn the track and you really get a handle on the car itself, the number one thing that you can learn is how to go through a corner. Going through corners is actually not as easy as it sounds, because essentially all you're trying to do is find the straightest point from corner to corner. And what a lot of people do is they'll cut into turns really hard, they'll get really aggressive around a turn and end up slamming on the brakes somewhere through. And really what you just wanna do is focus on apexes, which is essentially the innermost point, or what would make the turn the straightest. There's a bunch of fancy lingo that goes along with it. Don't get me wrong, autocross and track day enthusiasts, I appreciate all the lingo, but for normal just folks that are trying to learn how to drive their slow car fast, learning how to corner is gonna make that car feel a million times better. You don't need to go a million miles an hour to feel fast. What you need to do is you need to feel smooth, you know, like a baby's buttocks. If you feel like a baby's buttocks and you can go through and you can spend your time on the track just coasting through, you're actually gonna have a really good time, because it's gonna feel way better. It's gonna feel way more comfortable. Now, we can talk about things like late apexes, double apexes, things like that. We can also talk about how much you actually should be turning your steering wheel, but those are some things that get a little bit fancier. You will start to understand how apexes work over time when you start driving your car. But the last thing is just as you start learning about apexes, just as you start learning about, you know, going fast and learning about your car's behavior when you're going through the racetrack, the last thing that you're gonna really wanna think about is how you layer this information together. I wish somebody would have told me this back when I first started driving my super slow cars really fast, is that a lot of times when you start layering on information, your brain can only handle so much at one time. And even if you're driving a piece of like Honda SI for some ungodly known reason that's got 3 different color body panels and rust on the rear quarter at an autocross event because it was 40 bucks, you're still gonna have the issue where you're not able to apply the information faster than you can actually put it out onto the track, whether that's turns that are too sharp or whether that's something where you're going through and you just forget and you're gonna end up going off into the grass, or maybe you're gonna miss an apex, maybe you're gonna brake too hard and then accelerate through a mid-turn. Try to remember that as you get better and as you add on more layers, there will be periods of time where you just completely suck. And that's okay. Usually what that means is that you're not processing the information fast enough to take in all the new information, meaning that you can do some things, but you won't be able to do others. A good way to practice that is when you start feeling overwhelmed, take a break. Step away from the track for just a minute, go grab some water, or maybe just think about what went wrong. Maybe a new piece of information came up to you and now you got to shed that piece of information off and just go right back to driving without it until you've really mastered the 2 pieces of information that you got and not the 3rd one. That's going to be okay. If you're looking for one final little pro tip on the old slow car fast game, one thing I can say is a lot of people abuse the gas, right? They think the gas is the way to go about it. And really, don't get me wrong, the gas is good. It's a good button to have. It's a good foot lever, if you will. But braking is how you actually feel fast in a car, especially a slow car, because you're counting on the braking line to really get you through the turn as fast as you can. You can brake down as you need to, let up, and then you go. And what that allows you to do is a lot of different things. It can actually go through and you can level the car down. You can go through and you can actually just prep yourself up for a faster line once you get around the corner. But a lot of times what it does is it allows you to focus. When the car's going in at the right speed and you're not manhandling the speed all the way through, it's just gonna feel better. And when you line up your braking, which you should always do when the steering wheel is straight, it's gonna make it feel like you're driving a slow car fast. And that's really what it comes down to. Make sure you're spending time learning about your car. Make sure that once you start spending time learning about your car, you really understand just how it behaves, how it goes into turns and out of turns. How is that actual power curve? Is it really poopy or is it pretty good? Is there a certain place where it's gonna have way too much because of VTEC or a turbo, or is it actually gonna do pretty well all the way through? Then once you get through that, you can really start to learn about how do you get through corners just a little bit faster. As you go through the apexes, as you start to learn what a double apex is, what a late apex is, an early apex, all those sort of things, once you start to master, is really gonna make you feel better, even if you're driving a really slow car. Finally, when you get into braking, the number one thing that you can remember when braking, try to brake in a straight line. Assume that there's something that's tying your hands on the steering wheel to your feet. And every single time you're utilizing that foot, you have to make sure that you're not overcompensating with the steering. If you're overcompensating with the steering, but you're doing a bunch of fancy with your feet, a lot of times you're gonna have a really bad time. And those, probably 4 ways that you can drive a slow car fast. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course, Wheels, Tires, Suspension, FitmentIndustries.com. I'm pretty sure I just rubbed the living out of Steve's tires, but it was totally worth it. We'll talk to you later. Peace.